Welcome to Slash-A-Thon. Welcome back to MegaNerd Squad. Okay. It's Friday the 18th, but we're reviewing Friday the 13th. I got a special guest here, Jason.
Hello.
See, he does talk.
People misunderstand me a lot. I just like killing people. But for a good cause.
I love how bad certain things are in it. I gotta be honest, there's certain things that are bad about this movie that I'm actually okay with.
Yeah, this movie was made in 1980, so it's okay. Like, there's some things that aren't very great about it. Kind of things that you wouldn't expect. You would expect from a movie this old.
This movie is a great movie. It's different. What I like that's different about this movie is it's basically a whodunit through that first person, their vantage point. And so you're going throughout this whole movie, people are getting killed and stuff, and you don't really know who it is. So that's what makes the end so great. And I will say that is the best part about this movie, is the end. Again, almost like Saw, it has that little bit of a twist at the end.
Yeah.
Or in a way it's a reveal that, oh, who's the person who's been killing everybody? Oh, it's this sweet old lady who's lost her frickin' marbles. Her son drowned while these counselors were making love and doing drugs, so she is seeking sweet vengeance on her baby boy Jason.
And it so happens to be on Friday the 13th.
Yes, because that was his birthday.
Straight from the beginning, you do get a kill though, which is awesome. You start off with following this girl named Annie, and she literally goes to the gas station, asks someone to drop her off, and then she finds another ride on the way there. And it's from first person, so you only see Annie, you don't see the person who picked her up. And you can tell, like, something's bad gonna happen. And she doesn't stop driving. She jumps out the car, and the person who drives her kind of goes out. Pamela Voorhees goes and kills her. And it's a great start to the story. Great start to the movie.
Yeah.
Cuts her throat wide open.
I like the music in this. I think it's awesome. It set the tone for a lot of just campy 80s classic slasher horror. You know, this is one of those movies, everybody knows references to Friday the 13th. You know, it's the camp counselors on the campground that they're fornicating and doing drugs, and there's a slasher that comes and kills them. Everybody knows that, whether even if you haven't seen the movie, you know.
Yeah, you know about Jason. You know about you know about Camp Crystal Lake, where these campers stay and they get murdered.
And it really sets the tone for this great story of Jason. That's why this installment, the original first Friday the 13th, is so great. It's the first chapter, but it's also a really good chapter because it's so different. It's well done. It's a whodunit, and then at the end you find out who did it, and it was so unexpected.
And it sets up one of the best slasher characters ever made, Jason Voorhees.
Absolutely.
It sets him up to come back for revenge for whoever killed his mother.
Yes.
And just goes on a rampage.
So,
unkillable monster.
The great idea to bring him into the sequel, boom. And then you go on to the third one, and he gets his mask. And then you get the fourth one, which is known as one of the greatest ones of them all. When I see this one, I totally get it, why it created all the rest. Same with any of the great slasher movies, the originals.
I just wish that Jason did get introduced more at the end than just him as a little child. But I actually really enjoy the kills in this movie. There was one kill where the guy was in bed And
Kevin Bacon.
War, he literally gets a spear right through his neck, and you see all the blood gushing out.
Kevin Bacon.
Yes, that's one of the best kills.
Another thing that's great about this is the practical effects. Thank you, Sir Tom Savini. You're a beautiful man. Thank you so much. We love your effects. He came back for part 4, which is probably another reason why that one's so great too. But you can tell the prosthetics and the practical effects. It's 1980. They're not perfect, but I love practical effects. When she gets her head cut off at the end with the machete.
That's awesome.
It's disgusting and it's awesome at the same time.
It goes into slow-mo and she realizes she's gonna die. And she's like, oh!
Yeah. And whether that's what a head looks like when it gets cut off or not, we don't really know. But it looked interesting and it looked disgusting and gross and disturbing. And then the hands that come up while she's like, I guess that's what you do when you get decapitated. You're like,
yeah. This movie sets the tone for a lot of other franchises as well. It like sets the tone for like what you want as a slasher movie, because you take a bunch of kids, you have them mess around and play around, and they get killed. It still set the tone because this is just a different movie than Halloween.
Yeah.
It is killing people, but it's set in a camp. And there's a lot of
Leatherface did that too. That's the
teenagers.
good thing about these movies that they all have in common. It's always just these teenagers. And in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they didn't so much do anything that would, you know, how Jason, it's usually everybody that does something wrong, like fornicates or does drugs or anything like that, gets killed. Sometimes you get the innocent kills too, which are always surprising, you know, so it's different. It's
usually if you do drugs, have sex, or drink alcohol or stuff like that, you usually get killed.
Yeah.
It's just a lesson to learn. Jason's coming for you. And he's angry. The music in this movie is amazing. Like, just in John Carpenter's Halloween as well, that music is amazing. Ooh. And so is this one. I like the ha-ha. But all the other music as well. Setting up the tone for each kill and setting up the end as well. It's just really good and I really enjoyed it.
It's got some pretty bad acting in it. I mean, and that's just personal preference, you know, like like the old man.
I mean,
it's got a death curse. I don't know. I don't really care for that part, you know, like, but I understand it. He's an intricate character to their story. And I don't really like in the second one, I think it is, he just gets killed, like, just randomly. I feel like that's a character that Jason should have never really touched.
Yeah.
Like, for whatever reason, he's just always been the guy that's trying to warn people. I love the music throughout this movie, the tones and the scariness that they got. I love the setting. I love the idea of it being on a camp, Camp Crystal Lake, where they have all these myths and stories or whatever, and they call it Camp Blood.
One of the different things that, like, some other horror movies or slasher movies don't do nowadays are, like, this one was completely from the killer's view. It was kind of first person, the 95% of the movie, and I love that. I love just the first person take of them killing and then them following, stalking them. I just love the first person aspect of it.
I love the mystery of you not knowing who it is, and it's not a super long movie, so it's fine. You know, it's an hour and a half. You go throughout the first hour and whatever minutes, and then you finally get to the third act, which is my favorite part of this movie for sure. I forget her name, who played Pamela Voorhees, but she did such a good job as playing this old lady who's lost her marbles. She did such a good job with that. So I respect this movie and I like it a lot. I mean, for what it is, it's not like one of my favorite Friday the 13th, but I understand why it was made. I love the uniqueness that it's different than the rest. You know, any other franchise, you got your slasher right in the first movie. This one's different.
It's very different.
And they played on the idea of doing different things and then in the sequel implementing, well, what if we have Jason be the slasher now? And we just go off of that.
Great idea.
It worked out pretty well for him, I'd say. And I'm excited to see what the next Friday the 13th is going to be. You know, like the rumors about the LeBron James and then how it got put on hold. And now the thing where the original writers, after I think it was 30 years, they get all their stuff back. So I'm hoping they work out a deal and we get a new Jason movie because we want these movies.
Look, we can stop being tactical with these slashers. We just want more slashers now. Like, I don't care. I don't care.
The more the merrier.
We just need slashers.
The more the merrier.
More slashers. There hasn't been much in the last decade.
Yes.
And we just need more. You
got a good fan base. You're going to make your money on it. Give it to filmmakers that care and who are passionate about the project. You're going to get your money back and people are going to love it so much that you're going to want to make more because you're making so much money on it. It comes down to it.
I love some shots in this movie that were amazing, and how she was stalking the counselors and the teens in there.
Mm-hmm.
She's just in the bathroom. She's just looking under the stall. You see her with a flashlight, and she's just stalking her. It's just so awesome. It's just so cool to me. Those shots were. And I'm gonna have to give this one an 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
I actually really enjoyed it, even though it wasn't Jason. But I still, it's Friday the 13th, the original, and I just still loved it just because it sets up the tone for Camp Crystal Lake and all the killings that happen and the urban legend of Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, I love that too. The nostalgic of it, and what I really appreciate the most is that it's just so different. You know, just rewatching it just now, I'm like, okay, this is just so different than any other of the Jason movies, because it's really not a Jason movie. It's just the original Friday the 13th, and it's the roots of Friday the 13th and the story of Jason, and it all starts with his mother. So I really like it. 7.5 out of 10 for me on the original Friday the 13th. We got more stuff coming for you. We're doing the newest Friday the 13th. And then we'll be doing a ranking of the franchise, saying which ones are our favorites, which ones are not so much our favorites. And that's going to be a struggle, but we're going to get through it.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And make sure to hit that bell so you know when we upload a brand new video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. MegaNerd Squad
Out!